Hello everyone, Professor Gray here with you and welcome back. It's time for week number 12 of our freshman English course. We're getting really close to the end. Actually, this week we have only one video. This will be our only video. And next week there will also be a video, but next week's will be our final lecture video because next week on Wednesday at 6:30, you will have your final exam. Okay, 6:30 next Wednesday. Please come a few minutes early, maybe 10 minutes early. I want to get everybody in. There's many of you, sitting down, ready to go. You want to be ready with your pen, pencil. You don't want to show up late or at the last minute. Let's come a few minutes early. That'll be better for me, better for you, and better for all of the students if we get there a few minutes early to get organized and prepared for the exam. Again, next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. And next week on Thursday, you will have your listening lab final test. That will be done online only. That'll be next week on Thursday during your listening lab time. I sent you the email today with the time for that. So that's it. And there's this week's lecture, next week's lecture, and then we will be finished. But yes, there will be a lecture next week about the final exam. The final exam, I will give you more information about that in emails and in next week's lecture. But you must review the chapters we have studied. You must review the vocabulary. There will be a lot of vocabulary questions on the final exam. There will also be a lot of grammar questions, like the grammar questions in the book. Finally, on the final exam, you will read new stories that you haven't read. You will read 5 of them and answer questions based on them. The 5 stories will be the same topics as the stories we have read in the chapters from the beginning of the semester. And as well, they will have similar vocabulary, similar topics, but new stories. And then you will have story questions to answer about each story. So you will have 5 new stories with similar vocabulary and topics. And then you will have grammar questions and vocabulary questions on your final exam. The grammar and vocabulary will also come from the same chapters that we have studied. Okay, more information about that later. Last week's homework, G, page 142, was quite well done by many of you. How do you think the professor adapted his behavior? So what did he do? Most of you said, well, he didn't punish the students, he accepted their lateness. Good, that's one good example of what he did. Another was maybe he started class late, finished class late. Yeah, could be. He just decided that he would be like the students since they expected him to come late anyway. Number 2, why did he change his behavior? Well, because he was living and working in Brazil, because changing his behavior, one person, is much easier than changing the behavior of many people, many students. One is easier than many to change, of course. He respected their culture by doing it. Sure, that's a good answer. He made his own life easier. Yeah, he probably had a better time personally, professionally. He probably had a better relationship with his students. They probably appreciated that he made the effort for them. So many of these reasons are good reasons why. Finally, as we say in English, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And some of you mentioned that in your answer. Sometimes in English we just say, when in Rome, and then we know the rest. Follow what the Romans do, or do as the Romans do. Okay, good work. Let's go back to the rest of the homework now. Dictionary skills on, excuse me, on page 152. Chapter 11, Technology Competes for Family Time. We were about halfway through chapter 11 last week, so let's review the homework starting on page 152. Number one, surf. Originally, surf means surface, the top. And surfing is what you do on top of the ocean. You ride the ocean's surf, or the surface of the ocean. The second definition is new. It's a more modern one based on surfing on the ocean. It's surfing on the web. I guess kind of going on the top, just looking at a lot of different websites, maybe not going deep inside any websites, but website here, another one, like surfing along the surface, looking at many different websites. So our family spends more time surfing the internet. Of course, this is definition 2. The internet is not the ocean, it's computers. B, our family spends more time searching from place to place on the internet. Number 1, definition 2, answer B. Number 2, access can be permission. I got access to the library by showing my ID card. When you have your ID card, you can go in. You have permission to go in the library. Number 2, a way or means of reaching or entering a place. The door, the window. The door somewhere is the access. You can access this classroom using either of 2 doors. There are 2 doors here. There are also windows, but since we're on the 3rd floor, you can't really access through the window unless you use a rope to climb up the building, but I don't think you're going to do that. So really the only ways to access our room are through the doors. Online, if you want to access some sites, you must have a password or an ID code to get into the site, to have permission or access to get in the site. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were thrilled that their children had access to so much information. In other words, a way to get to. A way to get to a door, a window to so much information. Definition 2. Not permission, but just a window to information on the internet. Number 2, definition 2, and answer A. Number 3, solitary, lone, single, 1. A solitary house, 1 house. 2, alone, being alone. My aunt lives alone and likes her solitary life, living alone. Watching TV can be done as a family, while surfing the internet is often a solitary activity, something you do alone. Definition 2, answer B. You do it alone with no one else. Part E, word forms. Part 1, in English, the verb and noun forms of some words are the same. For example, research and research. Noun, noun. Okay, use the correct tense of the verb, future, past, present. Use positive or negative of the verb, and use the singular or plural form of the noun. Number 1, in most colleges, students access the internet. Verb. This easy access, noun. Number 1, verb. Number 2, noun. Access, access. Number 2, decrease. Carol works a lot, so there is a noun, a decrease in the amount of her free time. She's not happy about this, but she doesn't decrease the number of hours she works because she likes her job too. But when you see the word but, it means a change. But, however, change. So here it's negative. She doesn't decrease, negative verb. Number 3, network. Ji Young regularly networks with people. Verb. I network. Okay. Contact. Create contacts. I network, you network, she networks. Ji Young networks with an S. As a result, she has a large network, noun. Networks, verb, network, noun. Number 4, Maria needs help with her visa, so she contacted the student advisor. Verb, contacted. You could also say she will contact here. Yeah. Contacted or will contact, verb. Next one, he is an important contact, noun. Contact, noun, contact. Number 5, air pollution concerns me, worries me. It concerns me, must have an S. Verb, concerns, verb. It's not a concern, noun, a singular noun. Part 2, there's a mistake here. In English, adjectives become, no, it should be verbs. In English, verbs become nouns in several ways. Some verbs become nouns by adding the suffix tion or ation. For example, celebrate becomes celebration. Participate becomes participation. Let's check it out. Number 1, the teacher informed the students about the final exam tomorrow. This information is very important. Informed, or you could say will inform. It's a bit ambiguous. Informed, will inform, information. Number 2, the Olympics is an international competition, noun. People from all over the world compete, verb, for medals. Competition, compete. Number 3, Peter doesn't communicate very well in English. Negative, does not. As a result, communication will be a problem. Why problem? Because he doesn't communicate well in English. Number 4, my doctor wants me to have a noun, a reduction, a plus noun, reduction in my weight, so I will reduce from now on. From now on, chikum buta, future, will reduce. And number 5, I enjoy going to the park for noun, relaxation. It's very nice to sit under the trees and read a book. I don't relax as much at home as I do in the park. Must be negative. It's much quieter in the park. I don't relax, or I can't relax as much at home as I do in the park. Not the same. Cannot be equal. Don't relax as much. F, vocabulary in context. Number 1, solitary. Solitary person, being alone. Number 2, communicate. Don't always communicate. Number 3, of her choice. Thrilled, thrilled, excited. Of her choice means her top choice. Number 1 choice, so she's very, very thrilled. She's very excited to get to that university. Number 4, to have access to the library. Number 5, compete. They compete with each other. Number 6, relax. They relax in the cafeteria. Number 7, typewriter is very simple. Technology, well, a computer is very complex. Simple, complex, opposite. 2 different types of technology. Number 8, boundless, no limits and no end. Can go on forever. So happy. Number 9, reduction. And number 10, concerns. This concerns his parents. They worry. They are concerned. Close quiz, really quickly. Okay, just follow along. I don't want to read the whole thing. It'll take forever. I'll tell you the answers. Check your answer. If you're not sure, ask me in an email. Number 1, computer. Number 2, thrilled. Number 3, access. Number 4, internet. Number 5, though. Number 6, surfing, the internet. Number 7, complains. Number 8, research. Number 9, tripled. Number 10, popular. Number 11, reduction. Number 12, agrees. Number 13, boundless. Number 14, face to face. Number 15, televisions. Number 16, watching. Number 17, parents. Number 18, difference. Number 19, family. And number 20, solitary, a solitary activity. Good work. Any questions, please ask in your email. Chapter 13 is our final chapter. Chapter 13, the reliability of eyewitnesses. Please look at page Bekchilshipo 175. The picture is called a police lineup. Police lineup. The police, when they have a suspect, somebody who they think did the crime, they think committed the crime, they bring them in with other people. One person is a suspect, the others no. And they bring in eyewitnesses and they look. Is one of these the person you saw? Yes, that's him. Or yes, that's her. She committed the crime. She is maybe now guilty. Are they reliable? Are they dependable? Can we believe them? Reliability means, can you believe? The eyewitness, eye, see with your own eye. To witness a crime, witness something that happened with your own eye. You saw it, not on TV, not from your friend's camera, video. No, you saw it live in person. Let's take a look. Read the story on page 176, 77. Okay, the reliability of eyewitnesses, and answer part A, number 1 to 10. Page 178, 179, 180, but do not do number 11. No, only to number 10 and then stop. Okay, try to finish in, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. See if you can finish in 15 minutes. Good luck. Do the work. Hit pause, do the work, come back, and I will go over the story with you. Chapter 13, the reliability of eyewitnesses. Bernard Jackson is a free man today, but he has many bitter memories, many angry, bad, negative memories. Jackson spent 5 years in prison after a jury wrongly, mistake, convicted him of raping 2 women. Convicted means found guilty. He went to court. They argued the case. Is he guilty? Is he not? The jury, Jury, decides. The panel, the group of 12 usually, makes a decision. Guilty, not guilty. And they found him guilty. Convicted means you were found guilty of, in this case, rape. At Jackson's trial, although 2 witnesses testified that Jackson was with them in another location at the times of the crimes, he was convicted anyway. He was found guilty anyway. Strange. Why? The jury believed the testimony, the statement, of the 2 victims who positively identified Jackson as the man who had attacked them. Remember last will and statement? Your will, last will and testament, I should say. Testament means statement. Testimony, statement. In court, you make a legal statement, a legal testimony in the court. The court eventually, later on, freed Jackson. They let him go free, out of jail, free, after the police found the man who had really committed the crimes. Jackson was similar in appearance to the guilty man. The 2 women had made a mistake in identity. As a result, Jackson has lost 5 years of his life. Mistake in identity means wrong person. That's him. He did it. Oops. It wasn't him. It was somebody else. Somebody who looked like him. The 2 women in this case were eyewitnesses. They clearly saw the man who attacked them, yet they mistakenly identified an innocent person. Similar incidents have happened before. Eyewitnesses to other crimes have identified the wrong person in a police lineup or in photographs. Again, on page 175, the picture is a police lineup. Many people lined up so the eyewitnesses can look at them and see if they recognize anyone. Many factors influence the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. For example, witnesses sometimes see photographs of several suspects before they try to identify the person they saw in a lineup of people. Suspect means maybe the criminal, possibly. The police think, I think you're the criminal. You are a suspect. But until you're convicted, you're not guilty. You're only a suspect. We think you did it. They can become confused by seeing many photographs or similar faces. The number of people in the lineup and whether it is a live lineup or a photograph may also affect the witness's decision. People sometimes have difficulty identifying people of other races. The questions the police ask witnesses also have an effect on them. Are some witnesses more reliable than others, more believable? Can we believe some more than others? Many people believe that police officers are more reliable than ordinary people. Remember that term, ordinary people. Psychologists decided to test this idea and they discovered that it is not true. 2 psychologists showed a film of crimes to both police officers and civilians. Who are civilians? Ordinary people, not police, not military. Okay, there's police and military are special, right? Special people in some way. And everybody else is just regular, kunyang citizen, ordinary people or civilian. Civilian is kind of like citizen, regular citizen, not police, not military. But if you're police and military, you work for the government, for the country. That's your job. Civilian just is regular citizen. The psychologists found no difference between the police and the civilians in correctly remembering the details of the crime. No difference. Police were not better than civilians. Despite all the possibilities for inaccuracy, mistakes, courts cannot exclude, ignore, keep out, cannot exclude eyewitness testimony from a trial because it's useful. American courts depend almost completely on eyewitness testimony to resolve, solve, answer court cases. Sometimes it is the only evidence to a crime, such as rape. Furthermore, eyewitness testimony is often correct. Although people do sometimes make mistakes, many times they really do identify individuals correctly. American courts depend on the ability of the 12 jurors, the panel, the jury. Juror is the person. Jury is the panel, the team. So 12 jurors, 12 people on the jury, on the panel, not the judges, to determine the accuracy of the witness's testimony, to decide. It is their responsibility to decide, determine, decide. If a certain witness could actually see, hear, and remember what occurred, what happened. In a few cases, the testimony of eyewitnesses has convicted innocent people. More importantly, it has rightly, correctly convicted a larger number of guilty people. Many, many more guilty, of course. Consequently, therefore, it continues to be of great value, very important, very valuable in the American judicial system. We still use it because it's very important, very useful, very helpful, necessary. Reading analysis. Number 1, the main idea B is very valuable, although sometimes incorrect. B. Number 2, check A, C, E, H. A, seeing many similar photographs. C, the questions the police ask. E, a live lineup or a photograph, which one? And H, the race, the ethnicity. Number 3, A, bitter, angry. A. Number 4, testimony. Number 1, a statement. Testimony is a statement. 4A, number 1. 4B, victims are number 2, people against whom a crime is committed. You receive the crime. You don't do the crime. The crime happens to you. You receive it. It happens to you. You are a victim. B, number 2. Number 5, yet means but, however, but, yet. B, because opposite. Context makes it clear they are opposite. Number 6, B, for instance, for example. Number 7, not true, is A, officers are more reliable than ordinary people. That is not true. Police officers are not more reliable than ordinary people. That's what is not true. Civilians are ordinary people, 2. 7B, civilians. Number 2, ordinary people. Number 8, despite, it means in spite of. A. Number 3, despite, in spite of, same. B, evidence means proof. Number 1, proof. A picture, CCTV footage, eyewitness saw you, a statement, testimony, could be proof, evidence of a crime. Number 9, who does there refer to? The jurors. C, the jurors decide. They make the decision. The jury, the jurors decide. And number 10, consequently, A, as a result. So, therefore, so, as a result, Consequently, all the same meaning. B, information organization. All right, so now I want you to fill in page B, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then answer C on page 182. Use the information on page 181B, information from the story. You can look at the story, read it, check for the information. Then answer the questions for C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop, then no summary. You don't have to do the summary. Page 181, 182, right now. It'll take a little while, take a few minutes. Do the best you can. Take your time if you need to. You don't have to rush. When you finish, come back and I will review B and C for you. Go ahead. Number 1, Bernard Jackson's case. A, his crime, he was accused of raping 2 women. Accused of raping 2 women. The evidence, eyewitness testimony of the 2 women that said that he raped me. C, reason for the conviction, the jury believed their testimony. The jury believed the women's testimony. D, the problem, Jackson was innocent, but he looked the same. He was very similar in appearance to the guilty man. Jackson looked like the actual guilty rapist. Factors influencing the accuracy of eyewitness testimony. A, witnesses sometimes see photographs of several suspects before they try to identify the person in the photo or the lineup. B, they can become confused by seeing many photographs of very similar faces. Remember, Bernard Jackson looked like the actual rapist. They looked very similar, but one was guilty, one was not. C, the number of people in the lineup. Is it a live lineup or photograph? These can all affect the witness's decision. D, sometimes people have difficulty identifying people of other races. And E is given to you. What the questions that the police ask can influence, can have an effect. Number 3, experiment to test the reliability of police officers and ordinary people as witnesses. The experiment was 2 psychologists showed a film of crimes to police and civilians. 2 psychologists showed a film of some crimes to police, then to ordinary civilians, non-police, non-military. Results, they found no difference between them in remembering the details of the crimes. No difference. Police were not more reliable than civilians. Same. Equal. Number 4, why courts cannot exclude eyewitness testimony from a trial. Sometimes eyewitness testimony is the only evidence. That's all we have. We have to use it. And it's usually correct. It is often, most of the time, it is right. It is wrong sometimes, and that's a shame, but that doesn't mean we can't use it or we stop using it. It usually is very, very necessary. Finally, C, now we just answer these questions based on the information from B. If you can collect the key points, the main information, and the structure of the passage, you can now answer the questions very easily. Remember this on your final exam. As you're reading, think about structure. How is it organized? What are the main points? What are the details? Okay? Point, support, support. Point, support, support. Point, support, support. This will help you answer the questions when you take a reading test. Number 1, why did Bernard Jackson go to prison? He was convicted of rape. Convicted of rape. Was he guilty? No. Convicted of rape, but no, not guilty. Number 2, did the jury believe them? Yes. The 2 witnesses said that Jackson 2 witnesses said Jackson was not there. Okay? 2 witnesses actually said, no, he was not there. He was he was in another place, but the two victims said he was there. That's the problem. And they believed the two victims. They did not believe the other witnesses. They did not believe the alibi. That's a good word. A-L-I-B-I. Alibi means, proof that you did not commit the crime. You cannot be in two places at the same time. So if somebody says you committed a crime at 1 o'clock, in Hongdae, but no, I was at 1 o'clock, I was in, Gangnam. And here's proof, picture with my friends. I was in Gangnam at 1 o'clock. I was not in Hongdae. I cannot have committed the crime. That is my alibi. A-L-I-B-I, alibi. Number 3, he was similar in appearance. He looked very, very similar to the real guilty man. Similar in appearance to the guilty man who raped the women. Number 4, some factors that affect eyewitness testimony. Number of people in the lineup, live lineup, photo, confused by seeing so many similar faces, difficulty if it's person of another race. These are all reasons why they can affect the eyewitness testimony. Number 5, are police officers better witnesses than ordinary people? No, they are not. How did psychologists test this idea? They showed a film of crimes to officers and ordinary people, and there was no difference in who remembered details better. Who was better at correctly remembering details? Neither. Police officers, civilians, same. Number 6, why is eyewitness testimony important in an American court? It usually accurate. Most of the time they're right, and sometimes it's the only evidence. It's all we have, we must use it. Number 7, who decides if the eyewitness testimony is correct or not? The jury. J-U-R-Y, the jury decides. Why is it a valuable part of the American justice or judicial system? It can be the only evidence, or very often it's the key evidence, the most important evidence. A lot of legal words this week. Notice they start with J-U, justice, jury, judge, judicial. All of these J-U words have to do with law. There's a little hint for you. You'll see other words in English too, jurisprudence. There are many, many, many words. A jurisdiction, many words starting with J-U, and they all have to do with law and legal things. All right, everyone, that's all for this week. Good work, good job, a lot of work this week. Your homework is not D. We are not doing dictionary skills this week. Don't do D. But your homework is E, word forms, page 185, 186, 187. In F, vocabulary and context, page 187, 188. I, closed quiz, page 190, 191. E, F, I. Finally, your written homework, the last one we will do is G, page 189. Give short answers for both number 1 and number 2. Number 1, police officers are not better eyewitnesses than ordinary people. What type of person do you think would be a very reliable eyewitness? Why? What kind of person? You can say anybody. It's up to you. There's no wrong answer. There's no perfect or right answer. It's just your idea. Who would make a very reliable eyewitness and why? Number 2, eyewitness testimony is often unreliable. However, it continues to be part of the American legal system. Should eyewitness testimony be eliminated? Why or why not? Yes, no. Okay? One reason why. That's all. For number 1 and number 2, you only need one reason for each. Number 1, who would be reliable and one reason why? Number 2, should we eliminate eyewitness testimony? Yes or no? One reason why. And that's it. As always, write your answer in your email to me You have to finish all of the work, watch this video, do the homework, send it to me, do all the other homework, and tell me that you've done it. And make sure, of course, your email to me is by 9 o'clock Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Thursday. You should also be reviewing the work we've done for the final exam. The final exam is coming soon. And if you have questions about the final exam, you can ask me anytime in the email, anytime this week. I look forward to hearing from you as always this week. Good luck, work hard, study hard, begin to review for the final, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for your hard work, everyone. Bye-bye for now.